My name is Mo and I produce metal, and today I am very excited to show you how I made the guitar tones for this breakdown. This song is the recently released Dumb Luck by Red Keep from California, and I've been working on the songs for this new album with the band for well over a year, so I'm super excited that it's finally out there. This particular breakdown has several layers going on. It's not just the main guitars, but still, let's begin with seeing how I got the main guitar tone. So starting off, I just have the stereo file here of the DI. First, let's start with the amp, which is Thall amp from Odin Audio. And I've been using this rhythm amplifier for most of my tones these days. I'm using this feature, the DI match feature here. And for the IR, I am using the Contenders Round 1 from GGD, just an exported IR here. There's a particularly cool feature, which is the shug feature, which can increase the pick attack noise here. What is worth noting is that throughout different songs, throughout different sections of songs, I am automating the drive of the amp, so essentially the gain. I am also sometimes automating this parameter, which is the thicken and the dirt. So the dirt is adding a really low-end rumble kind of effect. But I'm usually keeping this super low, like below 10%. And the thicken is just a pitch effect, which is like an octaver. Before the amplifier, I am doing some slight EQ work, this area here. Removing a little bit of this unpleasant scratchy noise and then just adding a little bit of low end here. Another cool thing to note is that I added a reverse effect here for certain notes. So together with the main tone, here's what that sounds like. So it's just for these longer shugs to get some interest and really suck you into this break, which is coming after each note here. And how you do this in Cubase is super simple. You go to Audio, you go to Processes, and you go to Reverse. And here you go, a reversed file. Let's keep going. After the amplifier, I am using Saturn just in tape mode to add some drive to the signal, and then I'm using Basement here to remove the rumble. This is my favorite plugin ever for rhythm guitars, and I do have an affiliate code for all things Plugin Alliance, which you can find below. Just instantly cleans up the guitar, and it keeps all of this nice low end, but it cleans out the stuff around like between 200 and 400 hertz or so. Next we have Soothe. This is mainly cleaning out the low end on the shugs, so essentially instead of using a multiband compressor, you can just use Soothe for a bit more surgical removing of unwanted low end. Next, just some compression through Distressor and Bomber in Virtual Mix Rack. It's mainly adding a little bit of extra attack on the start of each section. Next, some added EQ here. I am increasing a little bit around 300 Hertz for some more fatness. And then I am cutting a little bit of an annoying frequency here. And next, I do have some multiband compression just for taming the shugs a little bit extra. And finally, just a little bit of shuffler to widen the guitars here. As I said, the rhythm tone is really not just the main rhythm guitars, but I have some extra layers up here which we will look at now. So the first layer I want to show you is using Odin III, and it sounds like this. Just super silly. I am mainly after the, this really distorted, crunchy sound for this one. Starting off is just a DI. And I am adding tone sweet distant, which is the main culprit of this tone. And mainly it's this pedal, the destructor pedal, which just has this super nasty sound. So here's just like a normal guitar tone. But then it starts getting this almost farty distortion sound. It can be a bit too much, and usually I need to edit out like the silence parts, because you can hear that it's sometimes getting a bit too much here in the silences. Like this crackling sound, which can be super cool sometimes, but usually I just edit out the WAV file afterwards. Before the amp, I have this EQ going on. Since the pedal is adding so much mids, I am removing a little bit of mids before it. Next, what is really giving this super tremolating effect is the tremolator from Sound Toys, and this effect is going into Devil Lock, which is just a crazy compressor slash distortion module, and this is also super important for this super overblown distortion sound. So this fluttering sound is coming from the first plugin, so without it, but adding it, it's like this chainsaw sound basically. And yeah, this is going into Contenders Round 1 using these caps. Okay, next, Saturn and Basement, it's the same as on the rhythm guitars, Soothe as well, and compression here. The EQ is very extreme because I'm mainly after this really crunchy top end of this sound. I don't want too much low end because it will get too much, and I'm also adding a bunch of low end through the sub synth and so on, which I will show you very soon. So this is what it sounds like with the EQ. It's mainly like all of this sound up here. And you can really hear this in the final mix that I'm like automating this up for certain notes and so on. Next, let's have a look at the sub bass. I am using Anna 2 for this. And it's just a normal bass sound, which is super even. But I'm really just after the very bottom end. So first spiff, it is cutting all of the transient from the signal. I really just want this sine wave bass here, super even. R bass adding around 40 Hertz. This is so much fatness already. Next, I am saturating it using the clean tube setting. I can already tell it's sounding the way I like it, and just some stock compressor, doesn't need to be Pro MB, but just pinning it completely. You can see here it's not moving a millimeter. And the final one, the limiter, just to catch the initial attack. Soothe, just removing a little bit of the ugly parts of the bass signal. And finally, we just have an EQ to really just have this stuff like below 65 Hertz. I'm adding this for breakdowns and choruses, like any part where I want a little bit bigger sound. I don't use this for main riffs because I really want it to be, you know, more sub in the breakdowns, more sub in the choruses, so on. The final layer of the guitar sound is using Appex, which I also have an affiliate link for down below. And it sounds like this. So really just doing a bunch of EQ to remove some low end and the mid signals, and once again boosting this crackling distortion up top. Soothe. Not much at all. I'm using the imager from Ozone here to give some extra width. And finally some EQ, just removing a little bit more low end mud here. All right, now we are in the mixing session, and I will add all of the layers together to see the final results. Here you can see on the Odin layer that I am editing it pretty hard here. I really don't want this noise in between. And another thing to note is I also have an extra guitar, which is adding like a higher harmony here. So together with the main guitar, a little bit of dissonance, just something to note. Now I'm going to add each layer one by one, and you know the rules. If you headbang at any point during this riff, you have to like and subscribe. Enjoy.